So this video, I want this to be a trip report. I know if the wind isn't so strong that, it's affecting the microphone. But, so I want to make a trip report on my experience that I had on Halloween. So I smoked DMT a bunch of times on Halloween on LSD. And I have 3 memorable trips from that experience that I want to kind of get out. So, the first I already have. Now the second trip was interesting because so I'm just gonna get into it. The second trip, so I smoked it, okay? And I ended up becoming part of this echo fractal of the universe. So the universe is based on this fractal echo, right? It's like, you can say, in quantum physics, they talk about E8, right? And they talk about quasi-crystals. And see, my theory is that the higher dimensions is that this lower dimension, this third dimensional reality, is just a shadow or reflection or echo of the fourth dimension, which is just a higher echo or shadow of the fifth dimension, and so forth and so on until you get to the 8th dimension. Now, in this DMT experience, I lost sense of my human body. I lost sense of human whatever. And I became the geometrical fractal echo of the universe. Like, I was no longer, like, my existence, my being was being part of this fractal that is constantly echoing. And I remember being able to, because at one point, like, the music was playing, then at another point I turned the music off and it was silent. And I remember when it was silent, hearing the DMT space, right? You can hear it. You can hear the fractals and how they have a ringing / echo to it every time it echoes, every time it fractals out and becomes more and more and more. And every time it would fractal out, I would fractal out more and more and become the fractals. I had a trip one time where I smoked DMT and my legs started becoming part of the fabric of the DMT visuals. Like, it's like my legs started, like, being sewed into that fabric. Now, this experience was similar, except instead of my legs feeling like they were being sewed into the fabric, I just immediately became the fractal. I became the fabric. You know the colorful visuals that you see on DMT, right? That are hitting you, the colorful vortex, the this, the that. There was no vortex. This was past all that. And I became all of that. There was no more messenger, Mother Ayahuasca, or there was no DMT space, because there was no thought of me, that I am in DMT space. The only thought that is I am this fractal that must go on, right? And if those that don't know what a fractal is, I'll put the pattern in. But a fractal is just a mathematical pattern, right? A constant pattern that constantly repeats itself. And it's like this fractal of the universe was more the constant repeating of existence, the constant repeating of what's going on here, right? What's going on here? A human being, multi-celled organism, is speaking to a camera right now, and human beings create technologies to express ourselves. In the higher dimensions, DMT beings create machines and little, like, jeweled things and patterned things and geometrical whatever. They're kind of like 5th to, like, 8th dimensional toys in a way, right? Now, these beings create these things, and human beings are attempting to create these things with the technologies we make. So the technologies we make now, computers, virtual reality headsets, and game stations, and PlayStations, and Xboxes, and, like, these are us trying to, art, music, all these things. This is the human race trying to replicate what's going on in the higher dimensions. Our higher dimensional selves do similar things. And basically, me being this fractal, there was a knowing that I knew about the universe, but it wasn't a human knowing, because right now I'm a human being that can think this shit out, right? Because I have blank spaces. You know, when we were babies, we came here blank spaced, basically, with nothing. Our memory was erased, nothing. And then we learned as we've been on planet Earth. There, being the fractal, being the patterns, and being the colors, and being the visuals of the whole experience, right? It was more like, this is what is. I was the math. Like, I don't know, it's so hard to explain, but all I can say is I was the math of the universe, the visuals. The language of the universe is math. Like, it's almost like the language of God is math, right? The language of Mother Nature is math. Everything is designed a certain way because of a mathematical equation, a certain type of math. And it's like a certain type of math and science. That's the basis of the universe, you know, numbers and, like, you can say patterns and shapes, but it's a code of some sort, right? The universe is a code of some sort, coded by something. And when I became this fractal, I was not the something that was creating the code, I was the code. It wasn't like I was Godhead mode yet, but I was like every atom of the universe at the same time. I was every atom of this third dimensional reality that we call space, with Earth and Saturn and Pluto, and that's all still the third dimension. And then I was also every aspect and every atom and every photon of the higher dimensions. Because light is a higher dimensional thing that leaks into these third dimensional worlds. So it's like, I was where the source of it all is. And because I was those fractals that were repeating those tetrahedrons that are the pixels of this third dimensional world, like, I was all of them plus the other higher dimensional geometrical codes that I was also at the higher dimensions as well. And yeah, that was my second DMT experience on Halloween, with me smoking DMT on the peak of my LSD experience. So yeah, I'll probably record the third one probably in a little bit, maybe when I get up here a little farther, sit down or something. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.